let's talk about what is this value chain is all about. So this is the chart that is there for any value chain, but let's talk about it in a little bit of a detail. So if you look at the film industry, for example, the film industry starts with production, pre-production, all that. It creates value at each point through creation of scenes, cameras, all that. It creates value, and at the end of the day, all those values brings the finished product, and that finished product, when it is sold to the market, we make a profit.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what basically happens. So it's basically a value creating activity. That is what we call a value chain. It's the whole process of value creating activities. In a manufacturing organization, it starts from the basic raw materials. But in a service industry or in a film manufacturing industry, it starts with all the script, maybe the raw material, whatever, and then you add various parts into it, special effects, sounds, acting, direction, all that creates the whatever, and that is what ultimately being given to the market, and from which you make a profit margin. So coordinating the individual parts of the value chain will improve customer satisfaction. Remember, in a film, three things are there. It's a project. One thing is to manage within the budget. Second thing is to produce that quality film. Third thing is to give it on the delivery date. These are always the project management ingredients: quality, delivery date, and the budget management. So you remember in the last question, because they did not coordinate it properly, ultimately they had to spend another 16 million, another some 40 million to make that film right.
It affected the quality, it affected the budget, and it affected the delivery date.
Exactly. Exactly. All that happened because they probably did not manage the value chain. So the idea of the value chain is to improve customer satisfaction, achieve cost efficiency, quality, and delivery. That's the idea of the value chain. Customer satisfaction, quality, cost efficiency, and delivery. Right? So whatever the firm, so this is what the Michael Porter said, who can manage the value chain very efficiently, they will be able to do things at a lower cost to get that competitive advantage. So Michael Porter made the value chain into two separate compartments. He said primary activities, and then he spoke about the support activities. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 primary activities, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 support activities. So basically, when you say primary activities, they are basically physical movements of the raw material or whatever that is going to ultimately make the finished product. So the first part of it is inbound logistics, right? So basically, now not every company will have the same importance for each and every area of the thing. Now, if you really look at the film industry, the inbound logistics may not be that relevant because they are not going to have too much of inventory and all that, right? It is basically
most of all like manufacturing industry and stuff.
Manufacturing industry, there will be lot of inbound logistics to ensure that
so
the goods come on time and all that. But here again, we have some certain things like inbound logistics in form of, you remember in the pre-scene they said they have to go and film the thing in different locations.
Make sets and all that.
To take the actors and the cast into that location, you need to have your inbound logistics properly planned. It may be your internal transport inside the country. If you are going to do a foreign set up a foreign shooter, you may have to take them to another part of the world, and all that means the inbound logistics become relevant even for the film industry.
Yeah.
Because if you don't properly coordinate the inbound logistics, there can be issues where the cast may not come, all that. So to organize, coordinate, that is a very key primary activity.
Mm.
Operations, I believe, is simply the shooting the film, producing the film, directing the film, all that what means the operations. Special effects, all that is part of the operations that goes in. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the outbound logistics. Outbound logistics is finally distributing the film to wherever it is necessary. So that also need to be done very carefully. In the transit, people can take the film and make copies, pirate copies or something like that, and there can be a lot of other issues. So therefore, you have to see that your outbound logistics, the distribution of the film is done properly. It may be through a downloading that you distribute it, but in that case, you have to have proper IT systems secured so that only the ultimate customer buyer will have the film. Right. Before I forget, I think one of the things what I noticed in this company, they don't talk too much about the television area, but what I saw is in the film industry, that is a growing area. Most of the film companies are moving towards the television documentaries, television films.
Yep, that's true.
There's a wider view of society going to watch the TV, and with all these sophisticated new TVs that is coming up, there will be, so that is completely outside this question, but that is another area that probably they want to look at terms of outbound logistics.
A lot of big production companies are moving to like making a TV series.
Yeah, TVs, exactly.
Every year, new seasons coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, something like they're huge. They are $1 billion industry.
Yeah, I think the TV industry is catching up much more than the film industry.
Yes, and then now there is a web TV that's taken over the last couple of 3 years. I think that's expanding very fast as well because people going less and less to cinemas, and they'd rather pay online and stay at home and watch it all convenience.
You're right. Yeah, you're right, because the cinemas, they have their fixed times of showing it, but you may want to see it sometimes. Now I see my wife all the time watching the film, and she stops it halfway, she goes and cooks, and then again she can come and watch the continuation. So people go for that type of, and these television series are becoming very, very popular.
Yeah.
Right? These various soap dramas, kind of a series going up on a weekly basis, daily basis, is catching up the market very well. So that may be an area. So I'm thinking, because in P2, E2, it's all about the organizational charts. I'm thinking whether there may be a question on the organizational chart, because right at the moment they did not give us an organizational chart for this company in a very big way. They might want to put up the organizational structure for a company like this.
Do you think there could be a question they ask?
I think because sometimes there may be a consultant coming and saying that your organization structure need to be changed. I'm thinking of a divisional structure here. Film division, television division, right? DVD division, something like that, and each must be in charge of some person, and so
they're going to ask you a question to make a structure.
Yeah, something like that, probably. Because they might they will ask us to make a structure. They might give us about something like a consultant who has worked out a structure and asking us to come in the appropriateness of that structure for our company. Right? Because very unlikely they have been giving us any drawings or charts or anything like that for us to draw. It's essentially a Word document that what we have on the screen. So we can't insert pictures or insert anything like that. So it's writing that we will be doing. But they might give us a picture like this and ask us to comment on this one. How this could be implemented in our company. Right. So that's a little bit out of it. So I want you all to pick up all these things, because this industry is basically an industry that can go into these areas. So strategic development will be in the areas of television division. So I can see a question in one of the variants. Surely it will be all about the functional structures, different kind of a thing. Right? So, also another thing that's just outside this one again, in the film industry, one of the biggest risk is, unlike any other, now say if you are producing computers or something like that, you can produce a particular quantity 1 month, put it to the market, see whether it is successful or failure, and then you can decide what you are going to do. But film, you can't do that one. Film, you have to spend upfront all the monies. The normal manufacturing industry, normal service industry, you can do the things in installments. I mean, you do 1 month's thing. But here you can't do that one. You can't do a 1/12 of a film. But television drama, documentary, you can do that one. Television, you can do 24 shots and see whether it is successful. If it is so, you can go for the second series. If not, you stop it. But here, films, one shot you have to spend all the money. And you remember even advertising, pre-screening, 90% of your advertising cost is spent. So this is a peculiar industry. You can make or you can lose, because you have already spent the money. And after spending the money, there can be many risks.
What's the industry called? What industry?
What is that?
What's the word you used? What industry?
No, this film industry. I'm talking about the film industry.
Yeah.
Film industry is a peculiar industry compared to all the other industries what we look at, because see, we have already spent almost all the money. It's like a gambling. It's like speculation.
If you buy some shares, you make some money, you spend some more money, you make some more money.
Yeah.
It's not as if you're right.
Yeah.
You have to put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and if the hen gives you eggs, it's all right. If not, all gone.
If they don't hatch, you're gone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a kind of a thing. So we saw in the first scenario where almost after spending the money, they were in a bit of excitement whether the film will come right. So the film industry, I think, has big risk involved, and one of the risks is after doing all the areas, the film may not be of good quality like what we saw earlier. Sometimes the film may not be approved by the censor board of each of the countries for whatever the reasons. Right? Sometimes the film may be subject to litigation after producing. Now in Sri Lanka, I was just talking to a film producer last week. He did a good film, very good film. It was based actually on a real life story, but he made it with fictitious names and all that. It is all about a Sri Lankan judge raping the domestic servant in his place. Judge, right? So the film was done in a very subtle way. But everyone who saw the preview knew it was all about this man. But this man, being a very influential judge in the judiciary, managed to, get away from a particular case, the rape charge or whatever. Did
He didn't get prosecuted?
He was not prosecuted because these countries, the judicial systems are that if you have money, if you have power, you can get to any situation, right? And then finally what happened was somehow a producer got hold of this girl and made a big film out of it. And when it was just about to release, this particular judge went to courts and got an order restraining the showing of the film. Restraining the showing of the film. And when I met the producer, he was not disappointed. He said, I will fight it in higher courts. I will get it released. And if I get it released, this will make a bigger impact even than what I thought, because now it is banned, and when it comes, the people want to see what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
And exactly that is what happened. He went to higher courts. He got an order through the higher court to release it. And you can see...
Cancel the restraining order.
Cancel the restraining order. You can see the imagination, the anticipation of the people to see this film. Even, I was not aware of the whole thing. But the moment this came up in papers saying that it is restrained and all that, everyone was waiting to watch the film. So now he has made a big hit out of it, and it is being screened, and the DVDs are selling like anything.
But that guy is still working as a judge?
No, he's retired. He's retired, right? So
how does he live normal life? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's all these things do happen in these societies. So anyway, that was a good exposure, and it happened in that. So what I'm trying to say is, if that film was restrained after producing everything, you are in trouble. You have to pay the cost, you have to pay everyone, and finally to see the film is restrained, you can have problems. So you have to be very, very careful with your litigational aspects in the whole scenario. That is why you see in this company there is a legal director, and also in the non-executive board there is another legal director. Litigation matters are very important. Anyway, that's just a little outside the thing. Then we come to the marketing and sales. You remember 90% of your advertising is spent before the film is launched, right? Before the film is launched, because I suppose it is to make that anticipation greater, the advertising does. After the film is launched, I don't think you need any advertisements. It is basically the people who goes and watch the film, what they say, what their critic, what their review is the sellout for the next period. It is the first people to catch up the film you need to advertise and make the trailers and appearances and whatever. But after that, once the film is launched, you don't need to advertise. You don't need to advertise because if the film is good, people will talk about it and the film will go. And surely some of these reviews, the magazines, the papers will talk about the film, and that's the way it will work. So coming to marketing and sales, now we have a couple of distribution channels for films. Maybe one way they will sell the film to these cinema halls, particularly outside the country. They might sell it completely to another distribution company, maybe USA or something. B-Land, they have their own distribution company. They might distribute it to the B-Land cinemas and on a profit sharing basis. But for other than B-Land, wherever the film is to be shown, they might sell it completely outright, the film rights to be screened for next 2 years or whatever it may be. Right? Then the other channel is DVDs. They can produce DVDs, or they can outsource to produce the DVD to some other people and collect a royalty. So it all depends, what is your core activity. If you are producing film, you may not want to get involved in DVD production and all that kind of a thing. You might give it to some outsourced party, and through the outsourced party, they will do it. You might get a royalty. For each DVD that is sold, you get a royalty. Right? That's one way. Then the modern way is to sell it to the web downloading.
Yeah.
Download the film. You can have a website. If I want to watch the film, I will just get it downloaded. Another way
Mm.
is to sell it for these satellite TV companies, the rights to the selling the rights for them to show the film, and where you collect a
Copyright.
fee. Yeah,
Yeah.
copyright. Yeah,
Mm.
collect a fee for showing the film, the license fee or whatever it may be.
Mm.
Then the
Even they have dates. So you can sell a movie to a channel for a year, so 6 months,
yeah,
for
you can
3 months.
yeah you put a time frame. During that time frame,
Yeah, yeah.
they
They can
can
show
do
it
it.
for
That's
three
it.
months, and then they can't.
Yeah,
Then they have to buy again.
they have to buy
Mm.
again. They have to buy again. Yes, right. That
Mm.
can happen. Then the airlines, they take these films to show it in their flights, and that's another way
Mm.
of selling. So there are
Mm.
many ways for them to sell and to collect revenue, and that's why the pre-scene said once a film is done, the revenue can go for many years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it can go for many years. So that's what we call the marketing and sales. So you can see how important that as a kind of inducing and facilitating viewers to watch the film.
Mm.
So the channels are advertising, sales personnel, good marketing, all that kind of a thing is what is happening, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
the final part is more applicable to a manufacturing company. It's all about service. It is about installation, after sales service, all that. Now that may not apply for a film.
Mm.
For the film industry, the service may not come up because there is nothing called, enhance in the value, because you
Mm.
watch the film and that's the end. After 3 hours,
Exactly. If there's a
yeah,
message in the film,
yeah,
that's the only service.
that's all. I mean, that's basically over. It's not like buying a TV or anything. Just watch the film and then
Mm.
you come home and either you are a satisfied viewer or not a satisfied viewer. That's all.
It's
What
the
are
entertainment, I think. That's the service.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
entertainment. It's entertainment. Simply entertainment, right? That's it. There is no after
Mm.
sales or after anything happening.
Mm.
I saw recently. I went to a film. They after the film they were still promoting the film. They said you can put your name and address on the ticket and put it to a box, and they are going to do a raffle draw, something like that. And that is also again promotion.
Mm.
It is also promotion. What are the
Mm.
support activities? So support activities are basically, as the name says, they are the activities that support the primary activities.
Mm.
That support the primary. So there are 4 support activities. One is procurement. Now, what is the procurement in the film industry, Zohaib? What is the procurement?
Procurement would be, I think, you know what, like you're trying to get the competitive, procurement. Like, are we doing hotel management? We have a procurement software. So we're trying to get the best quality of product with the cheapest prices from
Yeah,
different.
procurement is all to do with purchasing of raw materials and machinery and all other
Yes.
capital items. That is what we call procurement. So in a film
Mm-hmm.
industry, what is your raw material? In the film industry,
Your
what is your raw material? Yes.
your actors and
Exactly. You're
your
right. Yeah, exactly. The cost.
yeah, the
The
cast. Yeah.
cast. So you have to procure the right cast. So remember, most of these top actors, they have their
Mm.
agents with whom you have to negotiate. So you
Mm.
have to have a good negotiator in your value chain who can negotiate with these agents and get the right people into your cast.
Yeah, most of them, like a director would never discuss the money with an actor, and they could be good friends.
Yeah.
So it's a producer's lawyer or financial person will
Yeah.
go and speak to the actor's lawyer
Exactly.
or agent or his manager, and
Yeah.
that's how they talk. And
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of actors know how much they're getting paid, how all that. It's
Yeah.
just
Because you remember these people are in a
they don't really
guild,
care.
right? They are in a kind of a guild kind of a thing, like a union kind of a thing. So they will
Mm.
there has to be very efficient procurement of actors, the cast.
Hmm.
and even to go for scripts, good books and
Yep.
good stories and all that kind of a thing. Before I take it, you must be able to take the story.
Yep.
Now that judge's story, the rape story, it's a very sensational one here. So whoever who managed to get that woman and to put up that script, made billions of money.
Mm.
So efficient procurement is something very important that we need to do it. Then the next one is about technology development. So it's all about the technology. Today, the film industry is going through rapid changes with new technology, things like IT, things like special effects, the compute imageries, all that what we saw is technology development.
Mm.
So either you must have in-house technology or you must be able to procure those technology through outside sources.
Mm.
Then we have the human resource management. You remember our producers are sometimes our in-house producers, sometimes they are out producers. I mean, they are coming from external on a contract basis to produce a film with our studio, our infrastructure. So human resource management is a very important thing because we have to have the right people in our setup, screenplay, all that. Some areas we may be outsourcing, but some of the areas we need to do it, our finance division. All those people are very important. So to get the right recruitment and to get the employee relationships going, we need to have human resource management.
Mm.
Finally, it's all about the firm infrastructure. So that is basically the general management, general administration, accounting, finance, planning, all that is coming under infrastructure.
Mm.
So you can see all these 9 areas together will make the cost, and that cost, if you can make it reduce, you can add up your margin and then you sell it to the market, and that's how you make a profit.
Mm.
If your 9 areas spend lot of money, you may not have so much of a margin, a thin margin, because we are mostly using target costing here, and you might not be able to achieve your margin if you are not going to manage the value chain very well.
Mm.
Right? So it's basically each primary and support activity will have the potential to contribute towards the competitive advantage and to deliver products of quality which will surpass the value expectation of the viewer in comparison with those results from other competitors. So remember the
Mm.
Michael Porter said there are 2 strategies to get sustainable competitive advantage. One is low cost strategy, one is differentiation strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are 2 ways to get the competitive advantage: low cost strategy and differentiation strategy.
What's it? Okay. What's the difference between low cost?
For low cost strategy and differentiation strategy. Low cost strategy means cost leadership. If you can do the
Mm.
film at a cost lower than your competitors, through tight cost controls, through good value chain management, you may be able to make a better margin.
Mm.
Right? So that is what we call cost leadership. The next one is what we call differentiation strategy, where you create something which is something where the customers or the viewers will feel something unique. Something unique. Now your company, Maintain, is number 1 in the European film industry. So their brand name must be very, very impressive, and the people must be waiting for their films to come. They are famous for producing box office hit. So they have what we call a differentiation strategy, a superior kind of films. So remember, they went for a 4D film, but I want you to now remember we are going to do many more mocks. So that first 4D film scenario is now over.
Yep.
Now don't bring that into your question in the real exam, because if you don't get a 4D, don't talk about the 4D what we discussed in the mock. That is not relevant.
That's just particular for the question, yeah.
That's particular for the, because sometimes what happens is we discuss many mocks by the time we come for the exam, and it's
what's in the
yeah, so engrossed in your head, you might talk about the CG tree.
Omar, do you give you a copy of the pre-scene anyway during the exam or not?
But yeah, in the pre-scene, you in the exam you get a copy of the pre-scene.
Yeah.
It's available.
But you never have time anyway to.
Yeah, that is the idea. That is why we don't want to waste our 3 hours on the pre-scene at the exam time. So as much as possible, we will have things in our head by the time we go for the exam. But having said that one, sometimes the confusion that you have is that we have done many things. So we do a value chain here, and we might think this as our question because we have done something, and we might try to apply that one without realizing it is not in the ANSI.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful, because I have a lot of my students, sometimes they make the mess out of it. After doing many questions, they forget the real unseen on the day of the exam, and they will go and talk about the CG tree. So this is what simply the value chain is all about. So now let's go to our question.
Yeah.
Now today we are starting the second 3-hour paper.
Okay.
The first 3-hour paper, 4 sections we went through. First one was about the risk, and the second one was all about the disclosures. Third one was something about target costing, and fourth one was about the film becoming a success and something like that.
Quality management and all that.
Quality management and all that. Yeah, correct. Right? So, so you can see started with a bit of a negative one, but ended up with a very positive one. And from that, we want to learn something and to introduce it into the
exam as well. Like it started with negative.
Not necessary. Not necessary. No, not necessary. Sometimes you might start with positive and continue positive. Sometimes you might start with negative and continue negative. Sometimes it may be just, normal things.
Yeah.
So today we are starting a new mock, and here again Isabel stops you in the corridor and says the following. I need your help. A firm of consultants has pitched the proposal to board of directors to conduct a value chain analysis for Maintain. Our CEO Stephen is interested, but he would like us to discuss the proposal further at the next board meeting before we decide whether to brief the consultants. So the consultants have given us a proposal, but before we take the proposal further, we want to take it at the board level and discuss it. He also feels there are other areas we should explore, particularly the strategic focus of the company. So this is where I'm thinking of the television area, because the strategic focus may have to change it to go into the present demand of the film industry. Right. So I'm encouraging again you all to read some of the annual reports of the film companies. If you can go through the Google, find out some of the film company annual reports, at least read one. That will give you a lot of ideas about the film industry, what's happening, what is the strategic direction. So I left a copy of the consultants' presentations on your desk. He has asked to prepare a board paper on 2 issues. So earlier we were doing a briefing paper, but today we are doing a board paper. The board paper will be done by Isabel. So you are going to do the draft board paper. What would value chain analysis involve in the case of melting, and how might we involve our staff more in creating value? Right? So how will the value chain work for the melting, and how can we get our staff involved in creating value? That's number one. CEO is unsure whether we should focus our value chain analysis in a low-cost strategy or differentiation strategy. So remember, Michael Porter said there are 2 strategies. One is a low-cost strategy or differentiation strategy. So should we produce a film reducing all the cost, or should we produce a film not considering too much about a cost, but something unique and unique and unique? Please draft a board paper for me. I will review it and present it at the next board meeting. So let's look at what is on your desk with the consultant's report. Something called VC consultants. They have given a proposal to implement a value chain analysis for maintain. They have given the value chain chart. This is what we saw earlier. Talking about their role, we would facilitate a detailed analysis of value chain with recommendations for improvement. So that is what the consultants will do. All relevant maintain staff will be briefed in detail. Right? So that's what they are going to do. The outcome from their consultancy, what we can expect, we anticipate a detailed set of proposals that will leave maintain in position of a sustainable competitive advantage, and they will recommend either a low-cost strategy or a differentiation strategy. So that's all. What the consultant's report is. What would value chain analysis involve in case of melting, and how might we involve our staff? So again, 15 minutes for reading, 5 minutes for final touch-up, 20. The balance 25 minutes, 13 and 12, 12 and a half, or whatever. So the first task is about what would value chain involve in the case of maintain.
Very good question, both of them.
Yeah. So the first thing what we have to look at is because you are going to write to the board of directors through your finance director, right? You are going to put the draft, and the finance director will do the final touching up and do the final board paper. So, but you being a very senior person, when you write, it should be almost the final board paper that will go. So you have to discuss about the value chain. So again, as I said, always remember when you are writing to use the terms our company, right? That kind of a thing, because you're part of the organization. Don't try to talk melting all the time, because you have to remember you are part of the company. So basically, you want to say our basic approach would be to work through the elements of the value chain as identified by the consultant. So that will be our approach. Our basic approach will be to work through the value chain that is identified by the consultant. So the idea is, if you are going to explain it to the board, the idea is to tell that the starting point will be to understand each link in the value chain. You remember there are 5 primary, 4 supporting, each link in the value chain, which is going to create value for melting. Some of the value chain activities may not be very relevant for us. For example, we saw service may not be a very relevant one for us.
Inbound logistics.
Inbound logistics, to some extent, it is essential. It's not the raw material, but to ensure that the cost is taken to particular areas, because the films are shot up in different locations. So to arrange the inbound logistics, I think it's a fairly serious one here.
Okay.
You know, getting the crew and getting all the people together, it's not very easy, because some of these key actors, you saw some of those fellows are, hot fellows. They might say they can't go in the normal coach. They want a Mercedes-Benz. So you have to arrange the Mercedes-Benz for some of those people. So the logistics of inbound logistics can be totally different. The senior cars and the junior cars you may be able to put them in a one bus and take it, but the senior cars, you know, they might want to fly domestic, all sorts of things can be there. So I think inbound logistics becomes very relevant in a different context for the film industry. So I believe I believe it's a complex area for film industry, because you can write that one, right? For example, inbound logistics is a complex area for our company, because we have to coordinate.
Is a sorry?
Is a complex area for our company, because we need to coordinate shooting at different locations,
film shootings at
different locations, and to
different locations,
and to take them to those locations.
Take the cast to those locations.
Locations, not only the cast, even the others, the crew, right? The cameraman, the cameraman, all that. And the complexity will arise because some of these people are very senior people. They may not want to travel with the normal junior crew. So you may have to arrange different logistics for different categories of people. Now, for example, if you are taking a big crew for a shoot up in Singapore, some of the senior cast, they may want to travel business class or first class.
First class, business class,
You can't send all the people in the business class. The others may have to carry on the economy class. So arranging all that is I think it's a very, very important area. Right? Operations, we know it is very important here in the film industry. It's shooting, it's all the operations coordination. That is a very important primary activity we need to do. Outbound logistics could be delivering the films to the film halls.
Operation is it filmmaking?
Yeah, operation is filmmaking. Operation is filmmaking. So we can talk about operations, the producing the film and special effects, sounds, editing.
Yeah, so pre-production, post-production, shooting,
exactly. All that is operations. Ultimately to produce the film.
Yes.
Right? What you can see in the value chain, just producing the film is not good enough. It must be distributed.
Yes.
Right? If you don't distribute,
that's number 3.
Yeah, that is what we call outbound logistics. So now if you look at the picture, if you can see the picture on your mind, it is first of all coordinating all these fellows to be at the various locations to shoot the film. And then the operations means the getting the cameras and, you know, doing all that, editing, all that is operations. Once everything is done, still you can't make money unless you do the distribution of the film. So there are many ways of doing it. You may get people to download the film. So there you have to ensure security aspects, because otherwise if it is just everyone will try to download it. If you are sending the DVDs or in a physical, if you are sending the film, it must be done in a very safe courier kind of a thing, so that it will not go to unauthorized hands. That it will not go to unauthorized hands, so that they will produce some pirated copies or whatever it may be. These are all what happens in the film industry. You do a film in UK and you are sending it to Sri Lanka, and you send it to a courier service. Halfway through, the courier fellow can open up the thing and take some copies and seal it and send it to me.
I still don't know how they can't stop. Amir Khan's film came yesterday and it's on internet today.
Pardon?
I don't know how they can't stop. Amir Khan's new film Dangal came yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's a very bad print, but it's on internet already.
Yeah, this is what is happening. You know,
I saw that. Look, I quickly, it's on the Facebook as well. I quickly closed it because it's supposed to be a blockbuster. It's one of the best movies.
Yeah.
This guy is very good. He makes movies with passion. I don't want to ruin my experience watching this some rubbish print. I'll wait for a good print.
Yeah, yeah. But this
But
is
it's there
do
already.
happen. This is do happen because with all the security things that we have, the control system still can be broken by many ends. Today, I suppose they are in a much more advanced society where they can put password protected, downloading, all that kind of a thing, right? Even then, things can go wrong. Even then, the things can go wrong. The password can be hacked. Right? The password can be hacked. The password can be pirated. So all those things are there. So it's not very
Also,
easy.
cinema owners take some money and let people bring the cameras and record the movies. I think.
Yeah, that's also possible.
And they're doing it on their mobile, setting up the camera, mobile, and record the movie.
Because today
And then
with all these mobiles available, anything and everything is possible. Put a pen drive and you can get the film on the pen drive. USB. So even in a cinema hall, it can happen. You get told of the night manager, you can take millions of copies and put it out. So all this, so to the security arrangement, the control arrangement is a very, very tough thing. And this is a big risk the film industry is running all the time. So that's basically the outbound logistic. It can happen in many ways, but the film need to be delivered secure and ensuring that no one will have the access to the film in an unauthorized manner. Then we saw the marketing and sales, the channels, advertising, and all that. In this scenario, it happens 90% of your advertising, marketing, all that happens.
I see a little conflict because in our industry, the film industry, we have the marketing and sales first.
Yeah.
And then not sales, but marketing is first, and then sales.
Yeah.
Distribution after that, and sales after that.
Correct. Yeah, because it need not happen. It need not happen according to these boxes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not. It is not. It need not be happen. Some other things will happen parallel.
So it doesn't have to be in a certain
order.
order.
Not on a sequence, because you remember they said advertising they start at more or less at the pre-shooting stage.
Yes.
Yeah. So it need not be. It's not a sequence that is going to happen, but the five primary activities will have to happen. Not all again, but because the service may not happen in the film industry. So that is what we are going to explain now, because they have given a chart. Our consultants are given a chart. So we are going to explain this chart and tell them, look here, service is not going to happen for us. Services is something for the manufacturing, durable, after sales service. So it is not going to happen. So you have to do the other part of the areas. So marketing sales, you will be talking about various distribution channels that is available to distribute a film. Then we talk about the support activities, right? The 4 support activities, the firm infrastructure, right? So that is basically all that what we have to have, the entire infrastructure that need to be there. The firm infrastructure. It's all about the general management, accounting, finance, because the financing is a very, very important area for the film industry. Big money is involved. So one of the ways that the film industry goes, they have what they call a revolving credit facility. It's like overdraft. It's a big amount. Each company is given a revolving credit facility by one bank or maybe a consortium of banks, and they manage all their films during a year with that money, with that facility. So generally, that's what happens all the time. They have this thing what we call the revolving credit facility. So that's a way of financing a film. Revolving credit facility.
Okay, what's that?
It is like overdraft, a big overdraft. We are given a facility, maybe up to 500 million or something, right? You pay only on the amount that you utilize. Now, if you take a 500 million loan, whether you use the loan or not, you have to pay interest on the entire 500 million. But here, you pay only on the amount that what you are going to use it. So if you use today 400 million, you will pay interest only on the 400 million. So that's the revolving credit facility. Revolving credit facility. So that's a way of funding. So the infrastructure is a very, very important area. You have to have a very strong finance division who will be attending to all your financing needs, because the financial needs are very big, and if you don't have your finances, you will collapse.
Yeah.
Right? So that's another big thing what we have to look at all the time.
Also, what I don't understand is how you borrow money to make a film, because if you don't make the money back, how do you pay back the finances? So if I'm lending you money to make a movie and your movie sinks in the box office,
yeah,
would I not be worried? This guy might call him bankrupt, this guy might be.
That's a risk the bank will have to take. That's a risk the bank will have to take. So they will do proper analysis. They also won't just go give the money. They will do analysis and see the past success of them. You know, if a company has been doing,
yeah. So I suppose the credibility of the people involved, the writer, the director,
the background, they will see who are the actors.
Have a big actor or a very popular filmmaker. Then
film industry needs lot of external finance. So you remember this company, they were looking for equity shareholders for each film, right? At least that one weekend in Moscow, they were having an equity the shareholder. But that is one part of the story. You might have all the time the film industry wanting people to it. So the banks will look at the background of earlier films, what they have done. All that will decide whether it's a good film to fund it or not. That's how they will do it.
Yep.
So you can see how important infrastructure. Then the human resource management. So about the human resource management, what you are going to talk about is all about the company's staff, because we have some producers who are producing the film who are our in-house employees. So we have to have the right people selected, rightly trained, and highly motivated. So that's another big area for any one of us who are doing a film. We need to look at all that part of it. Technology. The film industry is developing with all high advanced technology like 4D. Now I'm talking 4D because even though we spoke 4D in the earlier mark, now that is no longer there. So for this mark,
perspective,
yeah. Now this is a new mark, so we can talk about the 4D, the need for 4D films, that kind of a thing, and for new advancement technology. So we will be talking about all that.
CGI, yeah?
Yeah, CGI, correct. CGI, they are the new developments what we require. Finally, about the procurement. Procurement is all getting the right cast and the right mixture of people into the crew, film crew. Film crew consists the cast and also the cameraman, all the others, sound editors, all that. So you have to have right procurement people because they are the key people, because they are the people who are going to negotiate with the caste agents, and they should be able to properly negotiate, clinch the deal, because if you delay, some other fellow will sign with him, and after that you can't get that number one, number two people. So these are your part of the story as far as that part is concerned. What I want is I want you to read little bit about the value chain and think about the second part of the story, whether we should focus, not a very difficult one, but you have to think about it and write, should we focus on value chain, on low cost strategy or a differentiation strategy? Right?
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the Mac. So when it rings on the phone, it goes on the laptop as well. I don't know how it happens, but
all right.
I don't know.
Right.
If somebody, I can actually answer my phone from my MacBook.
Yeah, you can, because I think it's programmed, so you can answer it from there's app. Yeah, the moment that you download that app, you can answer it from the laptop.
I haven't done anything, mate. I just I don't know what. It's all synced up now. You see, you can ring people from the laptop.
I think maybe from the Bluetooth, if to the device, it gets connected, I think. I
don't know. Yeah. I can actually ring someone on their phone from my laptop.
Yeah, you can. I also can do it. I disabled it because otherwise it's a problem all the time.
It's annoying. I don't know how to disable it.
Phone will start on the laptop. Yeah. Anyway, basically now you have to think. You have to get your brains and think. For maintain, should they go for a low-cost strategy or should they go for a differentiation strategy? Strategy means for the future. Strategy means long-term. For long-term future, should they be focusing on cost or should they be focusing on doing something unique?
Yeah.
That's what you have to look at. So look at that one, and we will see when we are meeting on Monday, I think.
Monday at 4, yes.
Yeah. Monday we are meeting at 4 o'clock here. So Monday when we meet, we will look at the rest of it.
Brilliant.
Okay, so I'll see you on Monday at 4 o'clock.
It's quite interesting. I think it will cover a lot of things that I wanted to discuss all these anyway. Thanks for this.
Right. Happy to see them all. Okay, sure. So I'll see you on Monday.
Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best for you also. Thank you, Zohaib. Yeah. Take care.
Yeah. And you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.